Good morning again. On this 17th Sunday, I am going to preach to you on the theme, fruitfulness in family or fruitfulness in relationships. I am going to use the gospel as my point of departure and set it against that backdrop. In the gospel reading, which we have just heard, we saw how Jesus Christ repeatedly went out of his way to convince the people who he was. He fed 5,000 people. Yes, there is hunger in the world. There is need to feed people. But I'm going to pivot from feeding the belly, the stomach, to feeding the human heart, because there is tremendous hunger in the heart of human beings. We often hear people say that, yes, what people need are three things: food, clothing, and shelter, and they will be okay. But also what is more basic, which sometimes is left out, and which Scripture repeatedly tells us and gives to us, is that human beings are made for love. They want to love, and that human affection is great to them, and it is that which Jesus Christ wants to feed our hungry hearts. St. Augustine, nobody knew and understood this better than St. Augustine, who in the Confessions wrote out, "Our hearts are restless until the rest in the Lord our God." And because of the restlessness of our hearts, Jesus Christ repeatedly, and especially today, is saying, "I wish to feed your heart. I wish to feed you with affection, to communicate my love to you." And he wants us to respond to it by accepting it and in turn loving others. When we as people made for love and in love fail to love, this is what happens. We become sad. We become very, very lonely. We become withdrawn. We become cast out. And what happens to us? We get depressed because there is nobody we love and nobody loves us. And oftentimes, if this is not cured or taken care of, it may even lead to suicide because we feel we are alone. We are not meant to be alone. Any form of relationships, whether best friend, whether in family, as children, sons, daughters, spouses, we are just created just to bond. And to do this very well, to feed us, Jesus Christ intends to teach us basic lessons. And I intend to point out three of those lessons that he is teaching us. When we adhere to these three lessons, of course, you will find many more, but I'm pointing three out to you. When we adhere to them, we cooperate with him so that the human heart, our heart, is fed. And these things will be trust. The second will be service. And then the third will be faith. So we begin with the first, trust. What is trust? We are meant to live in relationship of trust. I trust you, you trust me. Trust is when we know a thing or two about somebody else, and because of the information we know, we inform ourselves from the trust picture. Say, yes, I trust you. This is my best friend. My brother is my best friend. My sister is my best friend. My wife is my best friend. Your husband or whoever is your best friend, because you know something very positive. You know they are there. When the going is tough for you and them, you can rely on them. They are your best friend. Does it always work like this? No. And oftentimes, we do not trust. Because often people prove themselves to be not trustworthy, untrustworthy. We feel hurt. And Jesus Christ is teaching us today to trust more. How did he do this? He saw a large crowd. The multitude, 5,000 men. The women were not in the count. The children were not in count. So, huge number of people. He saw them and he told Philip, "Philip, let us feed these people." And Philip was completely confused, and he said 200 days' wages will not be enough so that they will have a morsel, a little. Jesus Christ knew what he was about to do, what he was going to do. He was desperate to feed not only their stomach, but to feed them with something new, something outstanding. The apostles, all of them, Philip and the rest of them, did not yet know him very well. So they did not even understand what was going on. Little less did they trust him so much that he was sure of what he was saying. But he said, I know what I'm saying, and I want you to trust me. The lesson is this. In our lives, in our relationships, in our world, sometimes we encounter situations bigger than us. There is no human solution to it. They can be overwhelming, for which we say, I give up on this. He is saying, at those times, trust me. If you have faith in me, you have confidence in me, you know me, trust me that together I can solve this problem for you. The reason is we do not trust our God enough, that we give up easily. And he's asking us today, trust me, do not give up. No matter what, I am there, I am your God. Lesson 1. The second lesson is service. Now, inasmuch as he is our God, and he is able and willing, ready to do everything, he is also asking us, hey, I want your involvement in this. I want your cooperation. I want you to work with me. We saw that also in the reading. How? Let me point few instances. The first instance was, when they were overwhelmed, they saw a little boy with 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. What's the significance of that? The boy was little, and barley loaves was a food meant for peasants, for the poor. Poor people ate barley loaves. So this is insignificant food, and the boy is also insignificant. But then that is what he says, bring that to me. The meaning is that in our world, in our life, in our families, in our relationships, there may be people who perhaps we consider infradig, insignificant, nothing at all. We feel they have nothing to offer. Hey, Jesus Christ is telling us today, they have something to offer. Nothing is little, nothing is small. When we have that and work with what we have and cooperate with all of it, it will feed the multitude, meaning it will solve problems. That was the first one in that place, that we all are in service. And the second is this. He gave them the instruction, let the people all recline. Let them sit down. Everybody sit down. What's the significance? The significance of that is that there are times, like the psalmist in Psalm 46 verse 10 says, be still and know that I am God. We just need at times to just be quiet. Be there. Let God be God. When there is tension, when there is turmoil, when there is confusion in our families, in our lives, in our relationships, maybe the best service we can perform and render to each other is to zip them out. Just be quiet and be there and let the other think they are champion and win. Yes, they win, and it brings a lot of peace. The situation is solved. At that moment, the service God is requiring of you is to be quiet, to be at peace with yourself and with your neighbor. Then finally, he says, give them the food. When they have eaten, gather the fragments. It means that in this department of service, everybody, boy, girl, adult, young, old, we all have something to contribute. We all have something to do. A practical example is this. You know, some of you are parents. You have a job to do, you have things to do, and yet sometimes you remember all of a sudden your son or your daughter has to be at this game or at doctor's appointment or at this event. You cancel your own so that your child is present for theirs. You put your life on hold for them so that they are fulfilled. Well, when we grow up, when you grow up, now you're adult, remember parents did that for you. So once in a while, it would mean you also would pick a telephone and say, Mama, how are you doing? Papa, how are you doing? Or you even go to say, I have come to visit you. Just that little visit is a service, and it will mean a lot. It means gratitude. I am grateful because you are my parent. I'm grateful you are grandma, you are grandpa, you are there. Little things. Or as little as last week I visited this family. This family, they have been in love for quite some time, and the man is very sick and on hospice. The nurses come. But at this particular point in time I went, the wife has just got this man out of bed, given him a very good shower, and was back in bed combing his hair. A service in that I said, even when you are sick, I still love you, and I'm able to do for you what I can do. No matter how rich you are, money itself cannot do that. It only flows from the human heart, love and affection. We are called to be of service to one another. That affection that flows from the human heart, warm and fuzzy, given, lasts forever. And the third and final point Jesus intends to teach us is faith. The meaning of the multiplication of the loaves that he is giving to them was that I am present really in this bread. And what is this bread? This bread is wheat that has been crushed, broken, baked. And now you have it. It has gone through all those processes. The process is grilling and excruciating and refining. Yet I am here. The people did not get it. Because they did not get it, what happened? He withdrew from them. There are times when we are not getting the picture. He withdraws from us. And we feel loneliness. We feel dryness. We feel lack of faith. We feel nothing is happening. It's because he has withdrawn because we are not getting it. What does he want us to get? He wants us to get it, and during the coming weeks, you are going to hear more and more of it, that he is present here. Body, blood, soul, and divinity. When that bread and wine is consecrated. But the significance of it also is that our love must be pure and sacrificial. It's not easy. It is not easy, just as the bread is not easy to produce. It goes through the fire. So it is with us that it is not easy to love and love genuinely. To love and love without counting the cost. It is not easy. Anybody who says it's easy, you have not loved enough. You have to love until it pains you, until it's hurting. Then you know this is pure love. The pure love that resembles the kind of love that we celebrate every now and again when we are assembled here. In conclusion, my dear people of God, God intends to feed us. Our stomachs, yes, but more our hearts. To feed us with his love. The tenderness of his love should be communicated to us so that when we too love, we love one another and live in peace and unity. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.